Peace, 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 family. My name is Michael Jordan, and I am the Sirius Alchemist. Welcome back to another Saturday's book review. And like I always say in my videos, I'm serious about my shit. So today's book review is I got 3 books today, family, I want to go through. I think that's very important for people to understand. And the first book is by Barbara G. Walker, The Woman's Encyclopedia of Myths and Secrets. And family, if you don't have this in your library, you're missing out. Because this is an excellent piece of work. It goes into the divine feminine like no other work. It's very crucial to have in your library if you wish or want to understand the divine feminine. And this is just a great piece of work. So, family, like I always do, um, again, this is Barbara G. Walker, The Woman's Encyclopedia of Myths and Secrets. Um, like I always do, I'm gonna read from the back of the book. The Indispensable Classic Guide to Women's Myths and Secrets. And it says, do you know where the legend of a cat's 9 lives come from? Why mama is a word understood in nearly all languages? How the custom of kissing began? Whether there really was a female pope? Why Cinderella's glass slipper was so important to the prince? The answer to these and countless other fascinating questions are given in this compulsively readable feminist encyclopedia. 25 years in preparation, this unique, comprehensive source book focuses on mythology, anthropology, religion, and sexuality to uncover precisely what other encyclopedias leave out or misrepresent. A browser delight and an indispensable resource, the Woman's Encyclopedia presents the little-known stories behind word origins, legends, superstitions, and customs. More than 1,350 entries on magic, witchcraft, fairies, elves, giants, goddesses, gods, and psychological anomalies such as demonic possession, the mystical meanings of sun, moon, earth, sea, time, and space, ideas of the soul, reincarnation, creation, and doomsday, ancient and modern attitudes toward sex, prostitution, romance, rape, warfare, death, and sin, and much, much more. Tracing these concepts to their pre-patriarchal origins, Barbara G. Walker explores 1,000 hidden pockets of history and custom in addition to the valuable material recovered by archaeologists, Orientalists, and other scholars. Not only a compendium of fascinating lore and scholarship, the Woman's Encyclopedia is a revolutionary book that offers a rare opportunity for both women and men to see our cultural heritage in a fresh light and draw upon the past for a more humane future. Barbara G. Walker is a researcher and author of numerous books, including The Woman's Dictionary of Symbols and Sacred Objects. So yeah, family, this book is worth having in your library. You know, I'll be trying to bring y'all the best scholarly work, you know what I'm saying, possible. And if you want to find out a little more about the divine feminine, this is the work for you. And like I always do, family, I'm going to read a little piece out of here, and I got it marked at what I wanted to read. And this goes into the menstrual blood. You know what I'm saying? This goes into the menstrual blood. And this comes from a lot earlier cultures. And this is really explaining the power of the menstrual blood, because I don't believe a lot of, you know, people today really understand the power of menstrual blood. You know what I'm saying? They run around here, you know, listening to, these Europeans on how the menstrual works, and they don't really know nothing about it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna read this little piece from this book real quick. Hopefully, it sparks something in somebody out there to go get it. Right? So it says, from the earliest human cultures, the mysterious magic of creation was thought to reside in the blood women gave forth in apparent harmony with the moon, and which was sometimes retained in the womb to coagulate into a baby. Men regarded this blood with holy dread as the life essence, inexplicably shed without pain, wholly foreign to male experience. Most words for menstruation also meant such things as incomprehensible, supernatural, sacred, spirit, deity, like the Latin, sacer, old, Arabian words for pure and impure both applied to menstrual blood and to that only. The Maoris stated explicitly that human souls are made of menstrual blood. which when retained in the womb assumes human form and grows into a man. Africans said menstrual blood is congealed to fashion a man. Aristotle said the same. Human life is made of coagulum, of menstrual blood. Pliny called menstrual blood the material substance of generation, capable of forming a curd, which afterwards in process of time quickeneth and groweth to form of a body. This primitive notion of the prenatal function of menstrual blood was still taught in European medical schools up to the 18th century. Basic ideas about menstrual blood came from the Hindu theory that as the Great Mother creates, her substance becomes thickened and forms a curd or clot. Solid matter is produced as a crust. This was the way she gave birth to the cosmos. And women employ the same method on a smaller scale, according to Diosthenes. The fruit in the womb is nourished only by the mother's blood. The menstruum does not fail the fruit for nourishment till it at the proper time comes to the light of day. Indians of South America said all mankind was made of moon blood in the beginning. The same idea prevailed in ancient Mesopotamia, where the great goddess Ninhursag made mankind out of clay and infused it with her blood of life. Under her alternate name of Mamaton or Aruru the Great, the potter, she taught women to form clay dolls and smear them with menstrual blood as a conception charm, a piece of magic that underlay the name of Adam, from the feminine Adama, meaning bloody clay, Though scholars more delicately translated red earth, the Bible story of Adam was lifted from an older female-orientated creation myth, recounting the creation of man from clay and moon blood. So was the Quran's creation story, which said Allah made man out of flowing blood. But in pre-Islamic Arabia, Allah was the goddess of creation, Allah. The Romans also had traces of the original creation myth. Plutarch said man was made of earth, but the power that made a human body grow was the moon, source of menstrual blood. The lives of the very gods were dependent on the miraculous power of the menstrual blood. In Greece, it was euphemistically called the supernatural red wine, given to the gods by Mother Hera in her virgin form as Hebi. The root myths of Hinduism reveal the nature of this wine. At one time, all gods recognized the supremacy of the Great Mother, manifesting herself as the spirit of creation, Kali Maya. She invited them to bathe in the bloody flow of her womb and to drink of it. And the gods in Holy Communion drank of the fountain of life and bathed in it and rose blessed to the heavens. To this day, cloths allegedly stained with the goddess menstrual blood are greatly prized as healing charms. Family, there's so much we don't know about the great goddess. And that's why I'm bringing these books forward so people can know. Go get this book, family. The Woman's Encyclopedia of Myths and Secrets. This is a must-have in your library. There's so many jewels in this book, family, so many jewels. And I just read some about one, talking about the menstrual blood. You know what I'm saying? And talked about, they called her the Potter. And then you hear this Harry Potter story, you wonder where that came from. It came from the great Black Mama, the great Black Mother. I did a video on her earlier. It's called The Great Black Mama. Go back and check that out. But this is just a little bit more information on her, because the information don't stop. It just goes deep, deep, deep. It goes way, way, way back. So I'm, you know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to help bring it to light, the information of the great goddess. And then I got another little piece in here about the serpent that I want to read. And this is very profound. So family, somebody go out there and get this book, because it's worth having in your library, especially if you're interested in this kind of stuff. If you're not, I understand, you know what I'm saying? But if you're interested, it's worth having. Okay, this is on page 903. And come to think of it, fam, I just want to tell y'all this too. Before I get started, this book has 1,121 pages, book. Thick, full of information. I mean, full. I mean, you can't go wrong purchasing this piece right here, family. This is a must-have. But anyway, it says, the serpent. It was a general belief in the ancient world that snakes don't die of old age like other animals, but periodically shed their skins and emerge renewed or reborn into another life. Greece called the snake's cast skin Geras, old age. The Chinese envisioned resurrection of the dead as a man splitting his old skin and coming out of as a youth again. Like a snake, Melanesians say, to slow one's skin means eternal life. A basic serpent myth said the dual moon goddess of life and death made the first man. Her bright aspect suggested making him immortal like a snake, able to shed his skin. But her dark aspect insisted that he should die and be buried in the earth. Eternal life and serpenthood are still equated in the Italian expression ever pio ani dum serpente. I don't know if I said that right, but that's in Latin. Ever pie ani dum serpente, and it means being older than a serpent. The age of the serpent was originally identified with the great goddess herself. Hinduism, Ananta, the infinite, was the serpent mother who embraced Vishnu and other gods during their dead phase. She was also Kundalini, the inner female soul of man, in serpent shape, coiled in the pelvis, induced through the proper practice of yoga to uncoil and mount through the spinal chakras toward the head, bringing infinite wisdom. Y'all hear that, family? Bringing infinite wisdom. The serpent goddess occupied the famous Khmer Temple of Angkor Wat in Cambodia, where she embraced the king every night. If one night the goddess did not appear, it was a sign that the king must be killed and a new king chosen. The Negritos said the divine people called Chino, Chinese, were descended from a mighty serpent goddess named Mat Chinao, mother of the Chinese. In her belly lived beautiful angels who received the souls of the dead. Since her womb was paradise, shamans underwent their death and rebirth initiations by entering the serpent's belly. The ancient Aegean world worshipped primarily women and serpents. Men didn't participate in religious ceremonies until late in the Bronze Age, when Cretan kings were allowed to become priests of the bull god. Even then, the priest's role was subordinate to that of the priestess, until the priest himself took the title of serpent. The word for priest among ancient Akkadian peoples literally meant snake charmer. So the serpent was powerful, and the serpent is the serpent is very powerful, family, and the serpent is re-emerging in this day and time. Keep your eyes open. Pay attention to what's happening around you. The serpent is rising, and that's why I'm bringing these books out. So when you study these books and you study these works, you can see her energy, rising and permeating through the planet. And that's what got the powers that were shaking in their boots, because they know she's rising. They doing everything in their power to stop it. You know what I'm saying? So pay attention, family, and get this book. This book, The Women's Encyclopedia of Myths and Secrets by Barbara G. Walker. It's worth having in your library, fan. Really, it's worth having. This is a jewel. 1,021 pages of nothing but information on ancient cultures, ancient goddesses, magic, and all just, you name it, it's in here, right? And then I'm going to my next book, family. This is another jewel. Ancient Mirrors of Womanhood. I'm going to put that where you can really see that. That's by Marilyn Stone. You got to have that in your library, family, if you want to understand anything about the divine feminine. You know what I'm saying? And if you already got it, you in there. You know what I'm saying? And studying it. And you see all the tabs I got in here, I be in here. So any book that I come and bring before you, I done been in it and through it. Because most of this stuff, most of this stuff I got from Bobby. Because when I watched Bobby's videos or when I used to go to his lectures back in the day, I was writing down every book Bobby Kane spit out his mouth. Shit, I was writing that shit down. I was going to get it because I wanted to verify if what Bobby was saying was true. And what I could tell y'all is damn near 99.9% of what Bobby was saying was true. Because I went and got damn near every book Bobby spit out of his mouth because I didn't want to just be guessing and shit. I wanted to know. And like I said, I always say, all knowledge don't come out of books. You can channel knowledge. You can get knowledge from other dimensions. But books are a great start. I always say book smart is not the only smarts there is. You know what I'm saying? You get knowledge from all kinds of places, but books is a great start. And this, family, is a must-have in your library. Ancient Mirrors of Womanhood by Marilyn Stone. Man, this is a jewel too, family. So remember, what I put before you ain't nothing but jewels. So I'm going to read something from the back like I always do, family, just to give you a little background of the book and the author, you know what I'm saying? So Ancient Mirrors of Womanhood, a treasury of goddess and heroine lore from around the world. This joyous collection of ancient images of women as goddesses and heroines brings together legends, rituals, and prayers from China, Celtic Europe, South America, Africa, India, North America, Scandinavia, Japan, and elsewhere. Since its first publication in 1979, Ancient Mirrors of Womanhood has become a standard reference work on the subject in new preface. Marilyn Stone discusses developments in the goddess revival movement since this book first appeared. An invaluable resource of women's history and culture, the book shows us the richness of women's heritage from every continent across race and ethnic boundaries and helps us understand better both the wealth of our diversity and our common strength. Family, they don't want us to know the power of women. The real power is the women. You know what I'm saying? These patriarchal cultures done came along and tried to just erase her and shut her down, but shit, they can't do it. They could never do it. She rising now with vengeance. So, you know, and if you want to try to understand it and you want to survive it, get these books and study them. You know what I'm saying? You'll understand what you need to do and prepare your family and loved ones for what's coming. Because she's rising and you're not going to be able to stop it. And the powers that be, or the power, excuse me, the powers that were are shaking in their boots. It says an invaluable resource of women's history and culture. The book shows up the richness of women's heritage from every continent across race and ethnic boundaries and helps us understand better both wealth of our diversity and our common strength. An essential book for anyone interested in the female aspect of deity, the history of religion, and attitudes toward women, ancient and modern. I applaud Merlin Stone's research, her passion, her commitment. Every feminist should have a copy of Ancient Mirrors. These are stories to grow up with. Merlin Stone has taught art history and sculpture on the faculty of the State University of New York at Buffalo. She is author of a number of works on goddess history, including When God Was a Woman. That's a good book, When God Was a Woman. Get that, too, because I got that one. I'm going to have to do a review on that as well. And essay in Macmillan's Encyclopedia of Religion. Family, get this book. Ancient Mirrors of Womanhood by Merlin Stone. You won't be disappointed. Trust me. You will not be disappointed. And I'm going to read something out of here like I always do, family. And I'm going to go read about the goddess Lilith. I don't know if y'all know about the goddess Lilith, but she predates the rabbi, the church. And she predates the Hebrew religion. She predates the Greek religion. She goes all the way back to the Etruscans, maybe even farther. She may even go back to Atlantis. I don't know, but she goes way, way back. So I'm going to read something about Lilith, right? The name of Lilith appears in several Sumerian tablets. In one text as the hand of Inanna, in another as a female figure forced to flee from her home in a tree on the bank of a river. The Sumerian accounts may be linked to the goddess as she was known in the Sumerian city of Nippur as Ninlil. Later, Babylonian references describe Lilitu as a demon of the night air, again suggesting a link with Ninlil, whose name literally means Lady of the Air. The Lilitu texts occur at about the same period as the Enuma Elish. The account of the murder of the goddess as Tiamat and may be another manifestation of his suppression of goddess worship. Accounts of Lilith as the first wife of Adam appear in the Talmud and the Kabbalah, but may well be based upon the Babylonian Lilitu and in turn a distorted version of the goddess Ninlil. Family. And this chapter goes on, it goes on and on more into some other stuff, but y'all don't really want to go into that. But I'm going to show you this image they got in here, some images they got in here of some ancient goddesses. I want y'all to see that. This book is worth having. I'm telling you, this book is worth having. I think I'm gonna get some of these images blown up and put in my wall in my house, because some of these artwork have a lot of that energy back then that they have now. I mean, they got the same energy that they had back then now, is what I meant to say. So this story right here, family, I'm gonna read this story right here. This is my favorite story in the world. And I'm going to take my time and read this, so I hope y'all bear with me, but this is my favorite story of all time. When I first read this story, I was like, damn, what courage, what courage, and the love she had for her father, I mean, it was incredible. So the name of this story is called Mila. If you get the book, Ancient Mirrors of Womanhood, it's on page 153 if you ever want to read it for yourself, because like I always say, I know I can't do it justice, but, you know what I'm saying, hopefully what I read inspires somebody else out there to understand what the story's about, and they go get the book and read it for themselves. So the story's called Mila, Mella. And it says, although the moon, as the goddess Bamu Rambi, is mentioned tangentially in this account of the heroine Mila, this is primarily a story of the courage that grows from deep concern about a loved one. It is both the courage and the integrity of young Mila that allow her to succeed, while those lacking these elements of human character fail. So this is deep, family. Pay attention. This is deep. This account of Mila may be based upon an oral history of the Buhera Bahrazi people of Zimbabwe. Since Mila's later role as a tribal leader is stated so specifically. Okay, here we go, fam. We'll go ahead and read this. Pay attention. He or she that has an ear, let him hear. In a bright sunny clearing on the edge of a deep green forest were the homes of reed and fiber in which the people of the village dwelled. On a modern side, one home was the father of Mila, lying close to death. While all the offerings and sacrifice, while all the music of the pipes and drums, while all the magic of Nganga healers could not rouse him from his weakness and his dying. Into the forest Mila walked one night, stopping in the rich moonlight dampness of the ferns. Her fingertips about the crescent amulet that hung about her neck. Her young woman body holding thoughts of age and sickness in her heart. There she called upon the merciful Bomu Rambi, she who watched over the village, begging for any word of what she might do to help. The leaves above her trembled with the presence of the power of the moonlight as it shone upon them. Until Mila heard these words echoing over within her head. You must go to the Python healer. You must go to the Python healer. Mila's heart beat quickened. Her body grew cold in the warm night air. Fear crept into her worried heart. Had not her older brother sought the help of the Python healer many moons before, and had they not fled in terror from the entrance of the Python's cave, returning to the village so shaken with terror that their voices had died within their throats when they tried to speak of their visit to the Python healer. Lying on the straw mat in the dark of that night, Mila's eyes would not close. Mila's mind would not rest as thoughts of the Python healer crawled in and out of her thoughts. When the dimmest rays of the morning sun fell upon her wakeful eyes, Mila rose from her mat, quickly gathered roots and grains, putting them into a small sack of elephant hide, and set off for the place that she had never been, the cave of the Python healer, the cave set into the foothill of a mountain in the covering of the deepest, thickest jungle. 4 times the sun disappeared from the sky. 4 times the sun returned across the heavens. All this time, Mila walked through ferns as high as her head, up and down the many rock-strewn hills, making her way through wooded mountainsides, sleeping in unfamiliar groves, crossing streams whose currents challenged the expert balance of her body, crossing clearings high with yellow straw that felt both soft but piercing beneath her feet, all the while bravely singing songs while her thoughts roamed between the eyes of the animals whose paths she used, and anxious worry about her father. Lying still and weak upon his matted home, then all thoughts were pushed from her mind by the sight of the spiral carved upon the rock at the entrance to the cave of the Python healer. In the darkness of an early evening sky, lit only by a thin crescent of the moon, Mila tried to find the voice that seemed to have fallen deep into her chest and would not rise into her throat to reach her lips, until she reminded herself of the reason for her long journey. Taking 3 deep breaths of evening air, she finally called out to the hollow in the rocky cave, I am Mila, sent to you by Bomu Rambi. I have come to ask your help, for my father has lain ill for many moons, and his weakness is the weakness of my people. Waiting in the silence for an answer, Mila noticed that even the birds had stopped their talking. They too seemed to be waiting for an answer during the time that was passing, a time that felt longer than all the days and all the nights that she had walked. And then in the darkness at the entrance of the cave, she saw a pair of eyes in the dim moonlight. Heard a voice as hollow as the cave, a voice as frightening as that of Bamu Rambi, had been reassuring. The bravest of your people have fled in terror from my door. Does such a small young girl as you are have no fear that I might strangle you and leave your bones about my cave? It is not a lack of fear that I possess, replied Mila to the hissing voice that seemed to be without a body, but a love and a caring that is louder than my fear, a love and a caring for my dying father who has done no wrong. Yet neither the Ngangas nor the spirits of the ancestors can rid him of the illness that lays upon him as he lies upon his mat. So deep in sorrow have I been that Bomurambi came in answer to my prayers. It was she who sent me to seek you out, to beg for your help, if any can be given. Your love and caring more powerful than fear of me? python healer questioned and replied. Would you be willing to turn your back and let me crawl close to where you are standing? Mila spoke no word but turned her back to the entrance of the cave, the pride of her people keeping her head high. Though she saw only the jungle night, your loving and caring more powerful than your fear of me, the python healer repeated. The hollow hissing voice now closed behind her heels. Would you let me twine myself about you as I might do if I chose to take you for my dinner? Though the frantic cries of animals and birds pierced through the trees in worried, anxious warning, Mila allowed the python to wind itself about her body, and when only the legs, the arms, the head of what had once been Mila could be seen apart from the many rings of the python that coiled about her body, Python healer instructed Mila to begin the long walk home. Still, she held up her head high, despite the serpent's weight upon her, despite the fear she tried to quell, until from a depth of courage in her heart, a sound rose up into her throat and floated out as song into the air, so that all the animals and birds that came to gape along the path on which the serpent-laden Mila walked watched in awe of her bravery, each uttering growls or chirps of deepest respect along the way. In this way, exhausted Mila arrived at the edges of her village, with the python healer still wrapped about her body. When the members of the village saw the monstrous creature walked into the clearing between two houses, they ran for their arrows and their spears, but Mila raised her arm and called aloud, "It is Mila!" inside the python healer. Do not harm us, for I have traveled a long way to bring healing to my father." Thus they walked into the door of Mila's home, where the python soon uncoiled itself, slithering down upon the earthen floor and making its way to the mat of Mila's father. From the small scaled pouch that hung about its neck, Mila took the healing bark as the python healer instructed her to do. From the small deer horn that hung about its neck, Mila took the machanga oil as the python healer instructed her to do. With it, she made a fire that sent the vapors of the healing bark floating into the air of their home while the python healer recited holy chants of the Buhira Ba Rousey people. And then, to Mila's great astonishment, her father began to kneel upon his mat, then stood erect, tall, and finally began to walk about the room, something he had not done for all these many moons of illness. Though the father spoke with many words of gratitude, providing festive food and drink for Mila and the healing serpent, the voice of the python healer now was silent. Once again, it began to wind about the body of Mila, so that she knew she must again repeat the walk to return to the python healer to its cave. Once again, reaching the spiral markings on the entrance, Mila sighed in great relief as the python crawled down from her exhausted body and moved in silence into the darkness of its home. But as she turned to leave, the python healer called out and invited her to enter the deep cavern in which it lived, as, as animals and birds again cried out an even louder warning. So much fear had Mila faced that once again she chanced to trust the healer who had helped her father, and step by step she made her way into the granite darkness of the cave. Suddenly a light glimmered in the distance, glowing brighter as she walked. Though she dreaded seeing broken bones lying about the cavern floor, she opened her hesitant eyes and was amazed to see pots of gold and silver, baskets of ebony and ivory and precious jewels, nestled upon soft silken cloths and woven tapestries. But more astonishing than all the inspected treasures were the words that came from the python healer. "Take what you wish, for your courage and love should surely be rewarded." Mila's eyes lowered with embarrassment, thinking it was she who should reward the python healer. And in a voice not much louder than a whisper, she asked the python healer to do the choosing. From a great wicker box that sat upon the rocky ground, the python quickly took a golden chain in its mouth, upon whose links was hung a golden crescent of the moon, sacred images of the Bohura Ba Rousey. Holy Naduro, emblem that matched the one that Mila always wore, the one she had touched to call upon Bomurambi. Thus she knew the python healer truly was a friend. Returning to her village, Mila told her family of the treasure of the cave, proudly showing the golden Naduro she had won. But greed soon entered into the hearts of her brothers, who began to plot the python's murder, so that they might steal the riches. Overhearing the quiet, scheming voices, Mila ran quickly along the now familiar path to try to protect her friend, who lived by the sign of the spiral, to warn the python healer of her brother's plans, so that when her brothers arrived, they were greeted by bursts of hot, unpleasant smelling smoke frightening thunderous roars until they again fled in terror as they had so many moons before. When the people of the village heard of what had happened, they sent the three boys from their home to live alone forever in the jungle. And when in the later years Mila's fathers died, the people of the village appointed Mila as their leader, thus honoring her courage, her honesty, her love. Mila led the proud Buhira Barouzi for all the long years of her life, visiting the Python healer as often as she could, so it came to pass that it was Queen Mila who arranged for the great wooden carving that stood in the center of the village, a perfect likeness of the trusted Python healer, the one who knew the magic of Naduro Crescent Moon of Bamu Rambi, and cared for those who live with courage, honesty, and love. Ain't that a beautiful family? A beautiful story family. I don't know. Y'all might not agree. You might agree, but I think that is one of the most beautiful families that I've ever read. Family, get the book. Ancient Mirrors of Womanhood by Merlin Stone, a treasury of goddess and heroine lore from around the world. Family, get the books. Working way to go. And family, I got one more for y'all. I got it. This is a triple threat today. And this one is another great one. The Great Cosmic Mother. Rediscover the Religion of the Earth by Monica Saju and Barbara Moore. Make sure I get that so everybody can see that, because this is another word you must have if you want to understand the divine feminine. You know what I'm saying? Or get a deeper understanding. If you understand it, get a deeper understanding, because like I say, I'm a lifelong student. I'm a teacher as well, but I'm a lifelong student. I'm a teacher and a student. I'm a teacher and a student. So, and I would say, I don't know everything. I don't never claim to know everything. Sometimes I might tell you I don't know nothing at all. You know what I'm saying? But I'm always searching for the truth, family. And then I'm going to give you something from the back of this book, The Great Cosmic Mother. This classic exploration of the goddess through time and throughout the world draws on religious, cultural, and archaeological sources to recreate the goddess religion that is humanity's heritage. Now, with a new introduction and full color artwork, this passionate and important text shows even more clearly that the religion of the goddess, which is tied to the cycles of women's bodies, the seasons, the phases of the moon, and the fertility of the earth, was the original religion of all humanity in the ancient world. This is an abundant, powerful book that presents a vivid picture of the tragic consequences caused by the savage priests of savage patriarchy. It forcefully shows that the matristic religion, which lasted for many millennia before the patriarchy, provides an indispensable key to an understanding of the human experience. The Great Cosmic Mother will reach the hearts and minds of many readers. Marija Gambutas, Professor Emeritus of Archaeology at UCLA and author of The Language of the Goddess and the Civilization of the Goddesses. A work that both inflames and inspires a profound influence in modern feminist thought. Barbara G. Walker, author of one of the books I just mentioned. A substantial and important contribution to feminist scholarship and theory, and a fascinating work to read as well. Robin Morgan. In a voice that is both passionate and poetic, the Great Cosmic Mother tells us of the early time when our Great Mother was still worshipped, the time we need to understand if we are to create a better future for ourselves. I agree with that statement 100%. Monica Soju is well known in Europe as the foremost artist and theoretician of the re-emerging goddess religion. 44 of her own works illustrate this volume. Barbara Moore is an American poet and former poetry consultant for Women's Spirit magazine. Her writings include Mother Tongue and Winter Ditch and other poems. So, family, this work is a masterpiece right here. I mean, I don't really even know where to, I don't even really know where to read. You know what I'm saying? But I will read this little Sumerian piece about Tiamat. I will do that. But it's so much more in here, family. But you know what I'm saying? Just pressed for time today. Got so much stuff to do, so many questions to answer, a few readings to take care of. But family, this is on page 249. And this is about the goddess Tiamat. You know what I'm saying? So the goddess creatrix that Yahweh displaced was a goddess of the moon, and so of fertility and water. Her fertility involved more than protoplasmic multiplication. It involved the entire cosmic creation and all of life, as well as psychic rebirth, the energy of the mind, imagination. The women's cultures are portrayed in these myths as a chaotic commingling of the two sexes of humans, animals, and vegetation in ecstatic, spiritual, poetic animism, which messy commingling delays and obstructs the establishment of patriarchal social order. As rain pouring down into the sea delays the appearance of dry land, under the ancient rule of water, such disorder and chaos prevailed. The wise men avoid all mention of it. TSK. So the female and male principles must first be decently separated and put into their places. And when the Egyptian father god Shu lifts the sky goddess Nut from her embrace with the earth god Geb, when the Babylonian son Heru Marduk sliced Tiamat in two, he was really parting her from Apsu, god of the upper waters. Tiamat, the formidable Babylonian mother goddess, was the motto for the Hebrew Tihon, or Tiamat. Tiamat was mother of the deep who fashioned all things. She displayed herself as night, truth, and justice. Tiamat, the Egyptian goddess of truth and justice. Tiamat gave birth to the gods. Then, in later patriarchal epic, the gods rebel against her, and she is finally conquered by the sun god Heru Marduk, who had been promised supremacy over the other gods if he did so. He slays her in her form of the great whale dragon, or cosmic serpent, and she then surrenders her own body as building material for the universe. Note that in the original matriarchal creation myths, the Great Mother always sacrifices her body herself voluntarily. Even a mother giving birth, family, and everybody on this planet had a mother. She sacrificed her body when she gives birth. Every mother does that. She sacrifices her body. You know what I'm saying? So you got to peep what they really saying in these myths. So, and it says, and she surrenders her own body as a building material for the universe. Note that in the original matriarchal creation myths, the Great Mother always sacrifices her body herself voluntarily to create the world from her substance. In patriarchal myth, the basic idea is maintained, but the mother body is not actively but passively surrendered. The father god world is essentially created through male conquest and an act of matricide. This is what Elizabeth Gould Davis has to say about Tiamat. In Sumerian myth, the creator goddess Tiamat appeared out of the waves of the Etherean Sea, the Persian Gulf, as a fishwoman and taught men the arts of life, to construct cities, to found temples, to compile laws. In short, instructed them in all things that tend so often in humanized life. From that time, so universal were her instructions that nothing had to be added. So I'm telling y'all about the divine feminine. You know, all you brothers out, all you brothers out here that hate women, I feel sorry for y'all. Y'all better switch it up before it's too late. You know what I'm saying? Y'all better switch it up because that women hating ain't where it's at. You know what I'm saying? You need to praise her. You know what I'm saying? And show her love, and because that's what time we in, family. That's the time in. It's time that she's rising up. And you better respect her, and you better know who she is. So again, I put 3 books in front of y'all today, family. The women's Barbara G. Walker, the women's encyclopedia of myths and secrets. Bam, must have in your library. Ancient Mirrors of Womanhood. Bam, must have in your library by Merlin Stone. And then The Great Cosmic Mother by Monica Saju and Barbara Moore. Must have if you want to understand the divine feminine and what this world is coming to, really. Because if you understand, like Jesus said, if you want to know the end, you know the end, but if you understand the beginning, that's how you understand the end. So with that being said, family, my name is Michael Jordan, aka the Sirius Alchemist. And as y'all know, I'm serious about my shit. So see you in the next video. Peace.